This is the Regain Wellness Podcast with Jamie Logie, episode 178, How to Deal with Muscle Soreness. Hey guys, what's happening? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Jamie Logie. I run regainwellness.com, and this is the Regain Wellness Podcast of the same name. Thanks for coming on out. And today we're looking at how to deal with muscle soreness. So not just specifically for like gym workouts, which they're involved with, but just any type of muscle soreness. That could be from gardening or moving stuff around, or just, anytime where you're feeling that muscle soreness and tightness, and we'll look at why that happens and how to deal with it all. So, but just before, here's the obligatory subscribe to the podcast. Wherever you find your podcast, I should be there. Okay, that's out of the way. Let's get right to it. So just to follow up that point, I think it doesn't matter if you're a high-end athlete or, a weekend warrior type, or, at some point you want to know how to deal with tight or sore muscles. So that could be from a workout program. You could have a physically demanding job. You could play a lot of recreational sports. It doesn't matter. It's still going to happen at some point. So just looking at muscle soreness and tightness, stiffness, and in whatever case, it's pretty much when your muscles have a feeling of tightness to them and you find them more difficult to use than usual. So your movements may be slowed down and any use of your arms or legs starts to become a little more difficult. Then you may also experience muscle cramps, muscle pain, or a general discomfort that just doesn't seem to go away. So this sort of muscle tightness and soreness, it can go away on its own, or the process can be hurried up through things like stretching, massage, even like, warm baths, like I like to do with candles and some Kenny G. If you still have muscle tightness for days on end after trying all these things, it may be a sign of something more serious. And then that's something obviously to consult with a physician just to see what's up. So you'll know if muscle tightness has evolved into something more serious if you experience things like fever, extreme weakness. You may also experience redness and swelling in those tight areas. Those are usually your signs that this is not just from like a normal workout type muscle soreness. So here's what causes all of this. If after, just say a workout, an example, some muscle soreness can be expected after workout, but it's not always the indicator of a successful workout. Usually exercise or strenuous labor will be the main cause of muscle stiffness, and this happens because the muscles are forced to work harder than normal. This is causing microscopic tears to the muscle fiber, and this is causing that tightness and soreness that you experience. So this is essentially a minor injury that's occurring after any workout or strenuous activity and can cause what is called delayed onset muscle soreness, or DOMS. So this DOMS doesn't discriminate, and it can affect high or low level athletes, causing annoying pain right up to full like debilitation, where you just can't even like walk downstairs or anything like that. So muscle tightness appears when new exercises or training gets introduced. So even for a high-end competitor who's used to strenuous training, this can happen. Any new use of muscle that's different from what's normally being experienced can cause this delayed onset muscle soreness and muscle tightness. So this, I don't know, you might know this yourself. Like say you do a certain activity all the time. Like say you swim all the time and you're probably in amazing shape from it, but you're using just a certain, muscle selection, and you work in your whole body, but it's a different sort of engagement than say like running, or you play a game of like basketball, and then the first time you do that, you can't believe how sore you are. It's just because you're using a new group of, you're kind of recruiting muscles in a different way. You're using different stabilizer muscles. So it's not necessarily like that you're in shape, it's that you're doing new activities that can be the results of this. So here, and just saying, like when we talk about muscle, like building back lean muscle, that's what you're doing when you work out. You're breaking down the muscle tissue with those microscopic little tears. So you're not actually getting bigger and stronger in the gym. You're setting the stage for that muscle recovery to build back bigger and stronger. So when you get, proper nutrition, proper protein, water, rest, that's when those microscopic tears rebuild, and they rebuild a little bit bigger than they were before. And then that's what leads to strength gains, muscle gains, that whole thing. So let's look at how you can loosen and just kind of relax tight and sore muscles. So there's simple things you can start with, and that the first thing will be nutrition, like I mentioned, just with the muscle repair process. Getting in enough protein is going to be important in the repair of those muscle tissues. So the goal, I mean, there's various debates and research over what's the adequate amount of protein, but try to consume around, if you want to get it down to a technical number, try to consume around 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight, or around 1.8 to 2 grams per kilogram. I'm trying to cover both metric system and depending where you live, trying to cover you both. So that's going to help ensure adequate muscle growth. You always hear about maybe like a gram per pound. I don't know, not necessarily true. You might not need as much as you think, but that's 0.8 grams of protein per pound seems to be what the research says. So you also want to make sure you're consuming enough calories in a day to provide energy for workouts and not leaving your body depleted. So a well-rounded diet with multiple servings of fruits and vegetables is going to help flood the body with nutrients that assist in muscle repair and recovery. If you're struggling to get in proper nutrition each day, at least use a multivitamin as a backup to make sure you're not deficient in any specific vitamins and minerals, which could be causing excess muscle soreness. I mean, obviously a supplement you don't want to depend on. A multivitamin is just kind of like a good backbone, but the priority would be ideally double-digit servings of non-starchy vegetables each day, getting a good range of colors in there, but focusing primarily on those like dark green leafy vegetables. That's going to indicate a higher phytonutrient content, more minerals, vitamins, antioxidants, things like that, and that's going to help with the muscle repair process. So energy-wise, you want to focus on the complex carbohydrates, the cleaner burning types such as wild rice, brown rice, if you can get it, sweet potatoes, oats are a good one, steel-cut oats if you can get those too. Speaking of like the vitamins and minerals, magnesium is going to be a very important mineral and possibly the most important when it comes to anything to do with muscles and tightness and soreness and stuff. Magnesium it's such a big topic. I mean, magnesium's involved with over 300 different functions in the body. And one of those is that it's critical in regulating muscle contraction, muscle use, and muscle performance. It's probably the mineral most people are deficient in, and it's causing a lot of problems because it's involved in so many functions in the body. Also, like recovery-wise, it promotes relaxation and it can help with sleep. So you can take magnesium supplements. I think they are beneficial, but food-wise, they're going to be in things like those dark leafy greens that I mentioned. They're going to be in nuts and seeds. You can get like almonds, walnuts, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, chia seeds, stuff like that. You'll find them in good whole grains. Again, like if you go for the oats, it's a good choice. You even find them in dark chocolate. Ideally, you're getting a good dark chocolate, like at least 70% cacao solids. Get up to 90 if you can. I tried the 99%. That stuff is intense, let me tell you. So the magnesium's also going to help prevent muscle cramps and will combat against tightness. So like I said, it could be one of those days where you're just like doing like cleaning out the garage or the gardening or getting things up to shape and you're just beat down and sore after. The magnesium can help with that as far as relaxing the muscles and everything. So you're also going to need adequate water intake to keep the muscles relaxed and prevent, the cramping and everything like that. Many people are walking around in a state of dehydration and not even realizing it. We tend to think of dehydration as like crawling through the desert in rags, gasping for water. It's more of a subtle thing than that. And being dehydrated can not only lead to cramps and muscle tightness, but also affects performance and your energy levels. So the good rule of thumb here is to make sure you're getting enough water each day is drink half your weight in ounces of water each day for optimal health. So that's in pounds. So take your body weight in pounds, divide it in half, and that's how many ounces of water you want to drink. Okay, other helpful things to keep muscles loose were like I've covered, or like when I mentioned at the start, like stretching. Um, stretching is going to be a priority, especially after any physical exertion, workouts, whatever. This will help promote muscle recovery, and it's going to prepare your body for your next workout or your next run or your next sport or whatever, anything physically demanding. So if you're working out or it's a period of like physical exertion over the course of a while, take some time to stretch in between whatever the activity is. So if it's between, in the gym, in between sets, stretch that muscle to help. What that's going to do is keep the fascia stretched, which will help also aid in muscle growth, also prevent that muscle tightness. The fascia is like a thin sort of sheath that surrounds the muscle, and keeping that stretched is going to help prevent a lot of possible problems. You can also do this with foam rolling. That's a great way to relieve tightness, and also massage if it's possible. It's going to, again, create those same effects. But stretching is something you can do all the time. It's free. It's very helpful. Before you turn to other remedies, don't forget stretching, and whether it's at home or first thing in the morning or whatever. So a few other tips are to take ibuprofen, which can help reduce pain, and even using some ice packs can take the inflammation out of sore muscles. If you're really intense, you can take ice baths. I mean, that's probably more on the higher end of the spectrum and more intensity as far as higher training levels or, Olympic athletes or whatever, but it's something anyone can do. I mean, you don't have to always take, warm showers and warm baths. You can mix it up with ice packs or the ice baths and just see if that helps in the whole process. So one last quick nutrition tip, and that involves eating cherries, specifically sour red cherries, as they have compounds in them that can reduce muscle soreness, can reduce that tightness, they promote recovery. You can even use, if you find like a real tart cherry juice, which was my nickname in high school, never mind. You can use that to get the same results. If you can find the real cherries, that's the best way. But tart cherry juice, like make sure it's not one of those like cocktail mixes, where it's like a fruit punchy cherry punch. Like they're a little more, they're higher sugar based. Find the real tart cherry juice. I mean, the stuff is tart if you've ever had it before. But the compounds that give it the tartness are what help in the muscle recovery process. So it's one of the good indicators you can tell how healthy a food is if it has, especially like in fruits and stuff like that. If it has that more sour, astringent, almost bitter tart flavor, that's an indicator of the high antioxidant content and the high phytonutrient content in it too. So let's look actually now at specific muscles that you can keep loose. So like we'll look at tight back muscles, because that's usually going to be one of the most, I don't want to say injured, but affected areas. So, and it's going to be the area that you're going to find a lot of soreness, tightness, and stuff like that. It's just there's so many muscles that make up the back that it presents more possibility of muscle soreness. Your back's just a mix of all muscles kind of like piled in together, and they all work together, but they can all specifically be sore and tight from various activities. So back tightness in general, this isn't just specific to workouts or fitness or anything like that. It can easily happen over the course of the day from excessive sitting or even standing too long. The back has to support so much, and when you're sitting, things can relax. You can move out of the wrong position. It's very easy to pull muscles in the back. Wearing shoes that don't fit properly and walking on hard surfaces or standing on hard surfaces for long periods of time can all cause this issue. And even a mattress that is too soft or worn down may cause problems. So in the case of like footwear, the experts advise that you switch your shoes every 250 to 500 miles, which is a pretty big range, but it's basically the integrity of the shoe is going to break down after that point. If you're using, like say after the 250-mile point, it's, whether you're using those shoes like once or twice a week for running or whatever, they're eventually going to break down. And even if they look new, it doesn't mean like the structural integrity is still there. So keep an eye on your footwear. So looking at your back, to keep those back muscles loosened and reduce muscle soreness, stretching is going to be paramount here. So if you're experiencing muscle tightness in the back the day or two after a workout or physical activity, you can do simple things like, just make sure you're being mobile, like walking, biking, swimming is good. As they call this active recovery, it's a way to keep blood flow to the muscles to keep them engaged but not overused. That's what active recovery is. Then add in stretching, such as things like standing hip circles, or you can lie on your back and pull your knees towards your chest and kind of like hug your knees in. That's kind of the way I cry myself to sleep every night. And that's going to help alleviate that muscle tightness. Okay. The next area is the tightness that you get and muscle soreness in the legs. So again, keeping moving is going to be important to reduce that soreness in the legs. You want to keep things low intensity and low impact, and that's where walking or biking is going to be a good solution. So for, say, reducing the muscles in your quads, you'll want to stretch them out by standing upright. The standard heel stretch. So pulling your heel into your glutes, hold that for around 15 to 20 seconds before stretching the other leg. You also want to stretch out your hamstrings. People with poor hamstrings know they need to stretch them. You know who you are. And that you can do by doing the classic hurdler stretches on the ground, or just simply putting your leg up on an elevated surface and lean forward until you feel slight stretch in the back of your legs. You want to make sure you don't hold it, you want to make sure you don't like bounce. You want to make sure you hold that stretch for at least 15 to 20 seconds for each leg. So on those initial stretches, or with any stretches, don't go too deep into the stretch on the first kind of round. Get it to where you just feel that slight pull in that area you're stretching, say in the example of the hamstrings. Get to that slight pull, hold for the 15 or 20 seconds, relax, switch to the other leg. Then when you go back and do that same leg again, then you can go a little deeper into the stretch. So you kind of want to warm your way into it. Okay, for your calf muscles, which will get sore from, again, a lot of walking, sitting, stairs, whatever you have to be upright for, you can stretch them easily by using a wall. Basically just stand against it, raise your toes up against the wall, and then you can use your body to lean into the stretch. So lean forward until that slight stretch is felt. Again, don't go too deep, just that slight stretch for the first round. Again, do the 15 to 20 seconds and then switch to the other side, and then you can do another round where you go a little bit deeper into it. This is where foam rolling is really helpful and can play a big role in relaxing the muscles and relieving muscle tightness, especially in the legs. So you can get foam rollers of all different various levels of hardness and intensities, and it's kind of the way of giving yourself a self-massage. And you can control the intensity of how much resistance goes into the leg muscles you're stretching or kind of rolling out, so you can keep it more comfortable. You know what I mean? Like you're using your own body weight to position yourself, and you can lean into those stretches more or less. So it's a good way to kind of gauge where you're at and adjust things as you go. Big foam rolling guy here. Okay, let's look at tight and sore shoulder muscles. Shoulder muscles are usually one of the weakest on the body because they don't get used very much over the course of the day. People really, all of us, we tend to do little overhead pressing, or think of like how often you lift things to the side outside of like a workout in the gym, like a dumbbell side raise. Like you're not picking up grocery bags and holding them out to the side and walking out of the store with them. So they tend to be very weak muscles, and they tend to get sore very easy. So with shoulder soreness and tightness, you want to make sure they're really warmed up before you're doing any workouts that involve them. That's going to help prevent them from getting too tight and sore afterwards. So you want to do things, probably the most important are what we call dynamic stretching. And that's just basically arm swings and shoulder circles to keep the rotator cuff warmed up. So with the dynamic stretching, if you're just standing upright, you're just going to swing your arms in front of you back and forth for, 20 times. And then the shoulder circles starting, think back to even primary school gym class, start with those small little circles, work them up to medium-sized ones and then bigger ones, and then reverse that motion. And that's really going to help keep the blood flow to that area. You can also use bands. You can do front and side raises to increase blood flow. That's going to help ward off that delayed muscle soreness the next day or two. I have to do this. My left shoulder is destroyed from years of hockey and sports in general. So I have to like really warm them up before I do any sort of pressing motion, or I'm in that fetal position, hugging my knees later on. So stretching them to relieve muscle tightness involves simple things like neck rolls and neck stretches, where you bend your right ear to your right shoulder, hold it, then the left ear to the left shoulder. You can do, the classic cross body arm stretches, where you use your other arm to pull the stretched arm closer to your body. That'll give it a deeper stretch. So a few different things you can do there. So I'll start wrapping up. Just want to do a quick episode on this issue, because obviously muscle soreness is going to affect all of us at some point, whether it's the tough workouts or picking kids up all day, or doesn't matter, like whatever your job, there at some point there's physical exertion that comes in, and like I said, it can go from annoying to preventing you from doing anything. So to keep the muscles relaxed, again, it's important to follow proper nutrition and hydration. Always follow good warm-up and good cool-down routine. I hate stretching, I hate cool-downs and all that stuff, but start thinking of that as part of the workout, and you're not done until you finish stretching, and just to help with the muscle recovery and muscle soreness. So a good takeaway here is to always allow your body to move in some form, even if it's just a low-intensity movement, to keep the blood flow and muscle engagement up. And that's with the days after if you're extremely sore. Rest is always important, but this active recovery seems to be a little more beneficial. So nothing crazy, even just like a 15, 20-minute walk or bike ride, just to keep, to ease the muscle tightness, help keep them loose, promote the recovery, and just increase that blood flow to the area and help with the whole repair. Okay, let's call it a day here. Hopefully that was helpful. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the show wherever you find your podcast. I should be there. If you really like it, leave it a rating and review. That way more people get to see it, and then everybody wins. Okay, that's it for me. Talk to you later.